Alright, so what's going on, guys? My name's Chopper. Today we're going to be talking about Treyarch revealing or sort of hinting at Mob of the Dead for their next game in 2018, whether it's called Black Ops 4 or whether they start a brand new series. We're going to be talking about what they have to say about Mob of the Dead being remastered or just coming back in some form or fashion in that game. Now, before we get into all this stuff, if you guys could do me a really huge favor and leave a like on the video if you enjoy it, that would be absolutely awesome. Subscribe if you are new to the channel, that would be cool as well. And also, just one more thing I want to mention, I'm coming down with something, like I think I'm getting sick. I don't know what I have, whether it's just a cold or something more serious. I don't know. I don't feel terrible. It's just I'm a little bit stuffed up and my voice sounds different. So if I sound a little bit strange, that's why. But on to the main topic of what we're discussing today. Mob of the Dead Remastered seems to be all the hype, and I made a video sort of talking about this way back in the day when Chronicles came out, because a lot of people were confused as to why it was not included within that DLC, and I kind of just touched on it a little bit, like, yeah, like, it's going to be saved for later, and I didn't really go into detail or talked about it too much of all the information that we know, what developers have said, and just things like that. But right now, after some months have passed, we are closer to Treyarch's next game than ever. This is something that I think is more relevant. What's really exciting is that within the next few months, we're going to start getting teasers from Treyarch. Do you guys remember back in Black Ops 3 when they did the viral campaign with like the Snapchats and all that, and they were sort of those are the first glimpse and tease into the next game? We're going to get stuff like that pretty soon, so I kind of figured right now we should talk about Mob of the Dead Remastered, as we have so much evidence behind it as to coming back, and they most likely will tease it in some form or fashion to get the zombies community excited as well. Now, if you're kind of new to the subject, you're not really sure why everybody's so hyped about a Mob of the Dead Remastered when, number one, it was not in Zombies Chronicles, and Treyarch has not just officially come out and said in any way that Mob of the Dead is coming back as of yet, but there's still so much hype around it, and you guys might be asking why that is. Mob of the Dead is one of the most beloved maps in Zombies history. Now, you ask a lot of players, whether they're casual fans of Zombies or more hardcore fans like us, you might be asking them what their favorite maps are, and most likely Mob of the Dead is going to be high up on their list, whether, you know, it's top 3 or it might even be their absolute favorite. I'm in that same boat. I absolutely enjoyed this map, and it's definitely up there for me as well. And Treyarch is fully aware of this. They know that we want this map to come back in the next game. They're not, like, ignorant to that fact, or they're not trying to ignore it, and they don't want to remaster Mob of the Dead just because they don't feel like it. They know that this is a very big potential and a business endeavor they can do. Not only can they make a lot of money off it, but they also know that the passion for this map is unlike any other. Mob of the Dead was the first map where Blundell was really like the main flagship behind the direction of this, and it was different than any other Zombies map, as it didn't necessarily directly correlate with the rest of the storyline, and we really had to dig deeper to find Easter eggs to link it to the rest of the known story. Obviously, that all changed with Chronicles, and then when Blundell released a timeline, giving so much more context behind the story of Mob of the Dead, how Richtofen and the Illuminati built a secret laboratory under it to hold Victus in stasis, and this is something that we did not previously know at all about Mob of the Dead. It's like a very well hidden secret, but there's so much story potential and things they can do behind that this is likely what they're going to expand on in the next map. Now, if you guys have any qualms about Mob of the Dead being remastered, or if you're like one of those guys that think it's never going to happen, I would like to just maybe give you guys a little bit of evidence, okay? So I'm going to show you a video that my buddy JC Backfire did when he was at the Chronicles event with Jason Blundell, and he asked him why Mob of the Dead was not included within this map pack, and Blundell gives a very interesting answer. And if you guys have been watching Blundell, you know how this guy operates. When he says something and he sort of holds back, like, it's hard to explain, but you know exactly what I mean when you watch this interview. Listen to what Jason has to say when JC asks about Mob of the Dead.
We were really hoping it works there.
Yeah.
But one thing I really want to ask, and I think this is for the community's sake more than anything, just one question that I see brought up a lot, and I didn't ask it at the time.
Sure.
This is going to be maybe a hard question, but what was the decision behind picking those 8 maps? Because a lot of people out there are saying, like, where's Mob of the Dead? You know, like, and I know a lot of people are buried as well. Like, what was the decision in the 8 maps that we have compared to, say, like Mob of the Dead, for example?
So, I mean, I'll take Mob of the Dead separately, but as a general problem, like we said on the stream, I mean, we started with 4, and we went to 8.
Right.
The problem was 8's not enough as well.
Yeah.
You know, and at some point you get, you know, I mean, the fact that I was able to look at it with our team and say we could do 8, we were already excited, and I think someone at the time said, well, we could do 12, you know? And I was like, no, we're getting to the point of silly, like 8's already craziness, you know? So it was very hard to pick, and I was looking for, you know, knowing that the timeline was coming out and knowing what we were trying to do, I was trying to pick the set which I felt gave the best foundation, combination of, had narrative purpose and fun gameplay.
Gotcha.
And that's not to discredit any of the other maps that are not included in there.
Because Mob of the Dead isn't I think a lot of people, and I've talked to you about this before, like, I think just in terms of just how great that map was, like, I think it's either the best map or one of the best maps y'all ever did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all the maps that you guys do are awesome. Like, there's not a map that I'm like, oh, I never want to play this, because I've put hours and hours into every single map.
Yeah.
So it's just, like you said, like, I think, especially with Zombies Chronicles and just telling the story as well, I think I kind of noticed this afterwards. I'm like, wait, all the maps you picked were all the old, that was all the old crew.
Yep.
Like, when we had the original characters back in the day, how they used to be, now we have all those maps.
And that's the original 1.0 characters running around.
Yeah.
They, HD versions of them, but,
It's so cool.
But yeah, Mob, I can't say too much, but what I would say is, I'm sure there's another purpose for that at some point.
I don't know about you guys, but that's pretty much Blundell, like, confirming it without actually confirming it, you know what I'm saying? So, I think it's safe to say that the possibility of Mob of the Dead not coming back has already been thrown out the window. That's already ruled out, so we know we're getting this map somehow, but what is it going to look like? That is the biggest question. What are we going to see? What are the changes going to be? And I think we have a lot to go off of from this as well. Now, I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to sit back and act like I don't really know what to expect. I feel like Mob of the Dead is going to come back with, obviously, the original map, what we played in Black Ops 2, but it's going to be expanded. We're going to see that laboratory that Richtofen is keeping Victus on ice on. If you guys don't know who Victus are, that is the transit crew, and it's also a likely possibility that at some point we could be playing as Victus as well at some point during the Easter egg, and maybe even there's going to be 2 quests, or the steps are going to be somewhat different. We're going to get the original map back in all its core functionalities, but there's going to be a lot more to it. Blundell actually even said in a separate interview, I don't remember exactly who he said it to, I'll have to go back and find it, but when he was talking about Mob of the Dead, he wanted to actually create the entire island of Alcatraz, but due to like console restraints and just it wouldn't really flow well with the gameplay, they had to cut it down into what we have today in Black Ops 2. But the original conception was to have the entire island, or for Mob of the Dead to be a much bigger scale, which I think is really exciting. Mob was always this weird map where it didn't really fit in well with the storyline until the timeline came in, and then now there's so much more background information on it. It makes a lot more sense, and we can play around with so many different gameplay mechanics and features in a remaster or a remake that I'm fairly certain that if they did not do this, the entire community would riot. Now, very recently, an actual Treyarch developer, his name is James, or his Twitter is Cornwall Wallace, he tweeted this picture right here. Somebody posted on Reddit, they said, every map has its flaws except Mob of the Dead, and he just kind of titled it and said that even Reddit makes me smile every once in a while. And I thought that was really interesting that this now just came out and they're starting to tweet about it and whatnot. It's just, this is how Treyarch does it, right? They're the masters at teasing things and foreshadowing things that will happen in the future. And this is just a prime example, honestly. Now, for some reason, there's been a lot of people saying that Mob of the Dead Remastered is going to be the on-disc map for Black Ops 4 or the next game, and this is wrong in my opinion for so many reasons. I mean, I'm not saying that they can't put this on disc, like, you know, back in the day when we'd get multiple on-disc maps instead of just one, like we're sort of used to now. I mean, maybe they could bring it back for an on-disc map, but I kind of doubt that. What I think is more likely than not going to happen is this will sort of be like the Giant with BO3, where they sold it separately for $5, or if you get the season pass, it will come with it as well. They're gonna, let's be honest guys, they're gonna milk Mob of the Dead Remastered, and it's going to cost some amount of money. It's not going to be the free on-disc map that you get just for buying the game, but that does not mean that we're not going to get it at launch. I would place a fair amount of money saying that this is going to be the separate map, or maybe it'll be some kind of DLC. I don't know how that's all going to work out, but I think we can 100% say with certainty, we don't need confirmation from Treyarch at this point. We don't need to see like screenshots, or we don't need them to officially reveal it right now for us to know that Mob of the Dead Remastered or remade with more stuff is coming back in the new game, which honestly, I'm just getting so hyped talking about that. This is just kind of like a side note, by the way, but when I was at COD XP, I was talking to Blundell about Mob of the Dead, and he said it's always had like a special place in his heart, and he's had big plans for it, like since its conception. I didn't really think about that at the time because this was when Revelations was about to come out, and I was just like, yeah, like this is kind of like his child. This is his first ever really flagship map that he took over and directed, and like, but now that I think about that statement, it has so much more weight to it, and I don't know how long this has been planned out or thought up of at Treyarch, but I think it's all sort of coming together. We're very close to teasers of the next game. We're going to start getting screenshots, gameplay is going to come out, and all the hype will be around zombies again, and I cannot wait. So I want to know your guys' opinions on this, but I did want to make a sort of update because I kind of touched on the subject a long time ago, right after the drop of Chronicles, as people were confused why mob was not included. But I haven't talked about this in a while, and this is kind of like the hot topic, so I wanted to give my input, my 2 cents, and sort of discuss with you guys. This is what I think about Mob of the Dead Remastered. I'm excited for it. Let me know in the comment section your guys' opinions and thoughts on this as well. But other than that, guys, that is going to be the video. We can pretty much wrap things up here. Thank you all for watching. I really do appreciate it. You've been absolutely awesome. If you enjoyed it, leave a like on the video. That'd be sick as well. Subscribe if you are brand new and haven't done so already. And without further ado, guys, I'll see you all up on the next video. Peace out.